Thank you.
Here they are.
For staying.
Well, hard to know where to begin, but I think, we obviously want to talk a little bit about the restoration of the film, but I actually want to start by asking Alan if you can just sort of actually take us back to the very origins of this project and talk about where you and Howard were in your careers at the time and how this seemingly very unlikely candidate for an off-Broadway musical came into being.
I mean, how long do we have, honestly?
We have all night, don't worry about it.
We were semi-broke. We had done one musical prior to this together, God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater, which was well-reviewed but didn't do anything at the box office. And, oh my God, I was writing jingles. Howard was in publishing. We were working on, actually did two versions of Little Shop. First, we did one that was actually quite true to the tone of the Corman film. With the plant saying, "Feed me, I'm hungry. Feed me, I'm starving." Or there was a song, "When it's time to pick a pet flower, who's the shrub we love? Who's our potted plant of the hour? Who's our bush when push comes to shove? Who rakes in that cash, those kudos? Look, ma, who came through? Not Audrey Hepburn or Audrey Wood. Both those ladies are well and good. They're dismal failures besides the wonderful Audrey, too." And the pots go, "Audrey, Audrey." This is Howard's baby, all the way. I mean, as far as the origination of this, Howard Ashman. He had this idea from when he was a teenager, I think. Sarah can tell me when, probably knows better than I do. His sister's here tonight.
You're right, teenager.
Good, yeah. And so we abandoned that first version, and then he figured out, let's do it as the Dark Side of Grease, and basically bubblegum rock and roll, which sort of starts, in the innocent like 50s and early 60s and takes us into the wilder rock music and tells the story. And from that point, we knew we were onto something wonderful as soon as we started that. And frankly, for me, as soon as I saw the Corman movie and thought about turning this Faustian tale into a musical, I knew it was going to be wonderful, especially in Howard's hands.
And was it easy to find backers for it?
Well, the great thing about Howard was artistic director of the WPA Theater, which they claim stands for "We'll Produce Anything," but no longer exists. But WPA, they had done Key Exchange there and Steel Magnolias, and we did Rosewater there. So, and what we were doing, they're called equity showcases, and equity showcases meant
you didn't get paid.
Yeah, but you had to. But for the actors, they had to be reviewed, which meant you had to face, the New York Times, right away. And thank God, I mean, both times we did that, it worked out. But it's it's sort of like a kamikaze mission, So yeah, but after that, once we opened at the WPA, no, backers was not a problem. It was, I've never in my career experienced something so exciting as watching this musical go from, we were at, WPA Theater was on 3rd floor at 19th Street and 5th Avenue. It was right above the Chopsticks Massage Parlor. 100-seat theater.
$50 a week.
Sweltering hot, and people mobbed it. And it was so exciting. It was like, walking on air to have that first success. And no, backers was not a problem. But we ended up, of course, with this very enviable position of having Cameron McIntosh, the Schuberts, and David Geffen. I mean, what a combination of producers.
And Ellen, as the originator of the role of Audrey on stage before in the film, can you talk about how you came into the project?
Originally? Yeah. I was on the unemployment line. And I read the script and I went, Skid Row, I don't want to be in a camp musical. And then I was listening to Howard, I think, sing Green. And immediately I learned the lyrics, which is not my normal. And when I had met Howard a year before on another project and we fell in love with each other, when I came in, the voice, I didn't have anything to do with it. It just came out. I asked to sing Green. Alan got beyond a very little old piano, and Howard was sitting at the table. And I sang Green, because that's really the whole character. And at the end of it, he was crying, Howard was crying, and I was crying. And it was that, like we found our soulmates.
And can you talk a little bit about finding Audrey's very distinctive voice? Because we always think about, that...
I didn't do anything for that. It came out. The other things were, it was great directors are really, when they inspire you, and if you get on a jag, I love creating characters over there, and Howard got me. I remember that line, Night Spot, it was nightclub, and I said, that's not funny. He said, what's funny? Night Spot. And it was funny to me, and that's where the Audreyisms and the rehearsals were amazing. He was playing. It was so hot in that room too. But I remember I went out and got the dress, and it was a cocktail dress like Gracie, and he went, huh? And he went, this is good taste. And then I did the makeup, and then all of a sudden I said, oh, she has to be blonde to be soft in the face. And so I said, meet me at a wig place. And I had this long wig, and he went, what? And I said, trust me, let me cut it. And just let's see, the first time I came out, to be honest, he thought it was wrong. He said, you look like Joan Rivers, and it's not going to work. And I said, let me finish the whole thing. And when it's all done, and I gained weight, so I was ripe enough to fall off a tree like a ripe peach. And of course, I was a man's dream. But, and I wore real high shoes, so I was teetering between the comedy and the sadness. And when Frank took it, Frank wanted a more classic heroine. And so the piece is similar in its success, but dissimilar in that the flavor was it was deeper and a little darker, and it was, this man's a genius too, and he has such attention to detail. He has such a great eye and such great taste. The people he hired, the crew, the people, you saw the money on the screen because he chose the people. So Frank is amazing.
So I guess that this is really a question for Frank and also for Alan. Talk a little bit about how the film came into being, because as I said at the beginning, it's a moment in which there were almost no musicals at all being made at the studios, and certainly not with premises like this. So take us through that process a little bit.
Well, I wasn't that involved with, I knew there were offers, and but David Geffen, was our producer and was definitely going to be producing the film. And Howard was much more hands-on, because Howard was writing the screenplay. This was before I started scoring movies. So Miles Goodman actually wrote the score, and I was, I stepped back. The thing that we did was try to write a hit song for this, which we didn't succeed in writing a hit song. We did have a song that was nominated for an Oscar, but I think then let me pass the baton to you as far as how it got.
I guess I had done, this was only my really second movie that I'd done. The first movie was Dark Crystal, but that was Jim's movie. But that was, thank you, but that was Jim's movie. I helped him direct his movie. And then I did Muppets Take Manhattan. And I'm only telling you not to get applause, but to give you the genesis of this. And David Geffen saw Muppets Take Manhattan. I think there's some similarity, because Muppets Take Manhattan had many, many songs. It had all these puppets, and it was, high energy. And so I remember he asked me through my agent, my new agent at CAA at that time, and I read it, and I said no. I don't know if you know that. I said, no, I can't do this. Because it was so wild. It was just 14 songs and a plant that is small and then weighs a ton and is 13 feet tall and all these guest stars. And I mean, how do you do this, you know? And I said no. And then weeks went by. David was surprised that no one said no to me before. and I didn't mean it to be rebellious. I just didn't have a handle on it. And I was in Toronto shooting something, and my subconscious was working because all of a sudden I realized the key. The key were those three girls. I could bop them anywhere. And on the stage, they came in stage left, stage right, up, stage right. But here I could just bop them around anywhere cinematically. And that kind of opened everything up for me. So then I said yes, and then David asked me to rewrite it because it still has stage sensibility. And he wanted me to ask Howard, and I asked Howard if he wanted to work it with me, and he said no, because I think he said, this guy wiggles dolls and he wants to rewrite my stuff. You know, I'm sure he thought that, you know, Jesus. And I rewrote it. I was in London, and I wrote it. It took about a month, and then they liked it, and then it came to be.
And can you were there certain other, I mean, you talk about rewriting it to make it more cinematic. What were some of the sort of the challenges in taking this from the stage to the screen in terms of the structure of it or the form of it?
Well, I think there are songs I cut out because I felt it, you know, it wasn't.
It was the song he sings as he's laughing himself to death.
Right.
Now it's just the gas.
Right.
Closed for renovation.
Right.
What else?
Mushnik Son.
Mushnik Son.
I'm not quite sure now why that happened, but it was certainly structure in my mind. It was all about structure. By the way, when I say you write it, I didn't touch a word of dialogue. Yeah. Not a word. That was, to me, I'm not going to mess with something that was brilliant for 4 years. But what I did was I restructured everything and gave it a movie sensibility. So I didn't rewrite any dialogue whatsoever. But the look of it, I felt, you know, my opinion with musicals, one that cannot be naturalistic. One has to create artifice. And so everything was done in the 007 stage. The 007 stage was the biggest stage in Europe at that time. It burned down, but they built a new one. It was called 007 because the Bond films were shot there. And so everything you see is manufactured. It's all artifice. There's nothing shot outside. And so that was important to me to match the artifice of the feeling because it wouldn't jive. But there's a lot of changes that were made, but essentially, you know, it was mainly structure, and the opening was very important because of the opening I had on purpose to do many things. I had to show that the geography of the place, and I had them go from Skid Row and into the shop and downstairs, and they introduced the characters that way, and I had them in the rain, and they weren't touched, so they were magical, so I had a lot of information right away. Yeah. Anyway, it was mainly structure. That's what caused me to make decisions to make it like this.
So let's flash forward to this test screening of the film.
Oh, it was a
or
disaster.
Test screenings, and what happened to the film because of that.
Well, I'll try and make it short because I mean, Kurt has done an incredible job on this. Kurt not alone, Kurt and his team. I can't tell you, he's done an amazing job on this. In any case, so I don't want to talk too long. What happened was we prepped for about almost a year, huge prep. It was a huge, massive movie. You can see by it was a huge rap party. Then we shot for about 5 months. And we went to San Jose for the first preview. And the audience reacted like you guys did, which is so satisfying. They applauded after every number. They loved it. And what I didn't plan, what I didn't understand was how much they loved Ellen and Rick. They loved these characters. And in a theater, you're always looking, if you're an audience member, you're looking at a wide shot. You're always looking at a wide shot. You can decide where you're going to look, but you're looking at a wide shot. In a movie, I'm telling you to look at a tight shot. You have no other place to look. So that tight shot showed the subtleties of their emotions and the feelings, and then you started falling in love with them. And also, the thing I made a mistake on also, and I learned, is that in theater, they were killed, and then they came out for a bow. Here, they were killed. They didn't come out for a bow. So, to make it short, everything was wonderful until we killed Ellen's character and Rick's character, and then it was an icebox. It was a disaster, a total disaster. So,
Is that why you invited me here?
no, they loved. You can tell how incredible she was, especially when she was dying. I mean, you know, they hated me, hated the movie when we fed her to the plant. Hated us. As a matter of fact, okay, I said this before, and I don't want to take time away from other people, so I'll make it fast. But when one has a screening, the usual thing is to answer all these questions in cards. The main question is, would you recommend this movie to other people? You have to get a 55% recommend. You have to, no lower. We got a 13. This was an unmitigated disaster. I still have the cards.
But what was amazing, though, because I was at that screening, is how quickly you and Howard were able to turn this around.
We knew, yeah, Howard and I knew what we had to do.
It was amazing.
We knew, and Howard knew the structure, and I knew what Howard was doing. You know, because I had worked with Howard, as you said, for about a year and a half, very closely. So we knew we had to have a happy ending, and I was kind of concerned here because you're the first people who've actually seen this on the screen, and yeah, no one has ever seen this except you guys. And so I was really wondering, geez, are they going to hate me too? I really didn't know.
That's why we're sitting on the side.
Anyway, so what happened was we redid the ending, as Alan said, and we went back and reshot for about 3 weeks and made it a happy ending. And I got to say, the card shot up to like 70%. But it wasn't what Howard and I wanted to do. Now, I got to give David Geffen credit. In the very beginning, what Howard and I said, we want to have the original ending. I said, I want to stay true to what Alan and Howard did. And David said, you can't do that. You can't kill your leads. And I said, we need to. So he honored us, but he knew in the beginning that this was going to happen.
So, Kurt, what became of this footage over the intervening 26 years, and what was involved in putting it back into the film?
Like you were saying, boy, how much time you got? Well, first of all, I want to get rid of any myth. There's been question about, did we colorize the black and white? Obviously not. We found the original negative. We were looking through salt mines where we have storage in Kansas footage, storage at Warner Brothers, storage in London, and found some of the notes, found the negative, found some black and white dupes from the screenings you guys did, and piece by piece put it back together. And the last piece that drove me nuts we couldn't find is that disco piece. It's like we had to deliver this thing, and I couldn't find it. So I had the crew go through the negative 3 additional times to find it, and we found it. And then, yeah, and then that whole ending had nothing built. Because what I found was you had a temp track, yep, right? Like the plant busting out of the pot, right? It had this like clink sound to it. You know, that's not going to work. So we built it from the ground up, and we
the
finished
sound
the
effects
visual
here
effects.
are new and they're gorgeous. You know, they really are.
And then the visual effects, we tried not to modernize it. We tried to blend it so it stayed true to the film. And some of the effects you had, because back then they were photochemical, some of those effects were partially done. We had some of the plates, but not all of them. So,
Yeah, can I just jump in for a second?
Please.
First of all, there's maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 well, they're called opticals then. They're kind of digitals, computer animation. They're essentially, there's only about 3 or 4 shots. Everything else is real. Everything you see is totally real. That plant weighed a ton. There's a guy in the head. There were people in the background moving a big steel girder, moving that. There were 30 puppeteers underneath. We averaged about 30 takes every time we did a take. But I wanted to say one thing here, because there's one person who's not up here. First of all, Kurt is up here, which is so great because his team did an incredible job. But Richard Conway is the one who did all the miniatures at the end.
Yes.
And I'll tell you my joy here. My joy is when we received that 13% and it was unreleasable, I had to call Richard after Howard and I knew we had to do a happy ending. It was the worst phone call. I said, Richard, you know the stuff you worked on for a year, all your people, and about $1 million? We can't use any of it. I had to call him in London. It was the worst call. It was awful. And we didn't use it. And then, when I heard that this was going to happen, I called Richard Conway in London.
Well, yeah, you said to me, we got to
About
find him.
6 months ago, and I said, Richard, this is a voice from the past. Guess what? And I told him, and he was over the moon. So that's my joy.
So great. This isn't exactly what we saw in San Jose, is it?
Yeah, pretty
it
much.
is? Oh,
pretty
okay.
much.
Yeah.
Wow.
Take that, San Jose.
Yeah. And also LA. We did LA. I said, please, can we try one more time? LA. Same thing happened in LA. Same thing.
Yeah, we tried to get to the definitive cut, if you will, at the moment when you guys had to cut it off, because you were fine-tuning it every time you went to another screening. So we were looking at other black and white dupes that had variations. So we tried to find the last where you guys left off. So.
Yeah, and those of you who know digital but don't know film, okay, it's a whole different ball game. When you do a preview, you don't save what you had. You rip the film apart, and then you can't find it again. So that's why Kurt had to do all that.
Well,
Frame by frame.
I wish we could talk about the film all night, but I understand that Alan and Ellen have a little surprise for us. You may have wondered if we were running a silent film in here tomorrow, but that piano is not on stage by accident.
Last time we did something together I still have my mullet. Lift up your head, wash off your mascara. Here, take my Kleenex, wipe that lipstick away. Show me your face, clean as the morning. I know things were bad, but now they're okay. Suddenly Seymour is standing beside you. You don't need no makeup, don't have to pretend. Suddenly Seymour is here to provide you sweet understanding. Seymour's your friend. Little shop of horrors, a little shop of terror, call a cop. Little shop of horrors, no, oh, no. Little shop of horrors, bop, bop. They never stop the terror, watch them drop. Little shop of horrors, no, oh, no. Shing-a-ling, oh, what a creepy thing to be happening. Look out, look out, look out, look out. Shang-a-lang, feel the sturm and drang in the air. Yeah. Sha-la-la, stop right where you are, don't you move a thing. You better, telling you better, tell your mama something's you better beware. When I was younger, just a bad little kid, my mama noticed funny things I did, like shooting puppies with a BB gun. I poisoned guppies, and when I was done, I find a pussycat and bash in its head. That's what my mama said. What did she say? She said, my boy, I think someday you'll find a way to make your natural tendencies pay. You'll be a dentist. You have a talent for causing things pain. Son, be a dentist. People will pay you to be inhumane. Your temperament's wrong for the priesthood, and teaching would suit you still less. Son, be a dentist. You'll be a success. Say ah. Say ah. Say ah. Now spit. Better wait a minute. Better hold the phone. Better mind your manners. Better change your tone. Don't you threaten me, son. Got a lot of gold. Gonna do things my way or we won't do things at all. You don't know what you're messing with. You got no idea. You don't know what you're looking at when you're looking here. You don't know what you're up against. No, no way, no how. You don't know what you're messing with, but I'm gonna tell you now. Get this straight, I'm just a mean green mother from outer space and I'm bad. A mean green mother from outer space and it looks like you've been had. I'm just a mean green mother from outer space, so get off my back and get out my face, cause I'm mean and green. A mean green mother from outer space, I'm mean and green. A mean green mother from outer space, I'm mean and green. And I am bad.
I'm quite emotional tonight, so let's see if I can get this. I know Seymour's the greatest, but I'm dating a semi-sadist. So I got a black eye and my arm's in a cast. Still that Seymour's a cutie. Well, it's not his good, enough beauty, and I dream of a place where we could be together at last. It's a daydream of mine, a little development I dream of just off the interstate. Not fancy like Leathertown. Just a little street in a little suburb, far, far from urban Skid Row. The sweetest, greenest place where everybody has the same little lawn out front and the same little flagstone patio out back. All the houses are so neat and pretty, 'cause they all look just alike. Oh, I dream about it all the time. Just me and the toaster. And a sweet little guy. Like Seymour. A matchbox of our own. A fence of real chain link. A grill out on the patio. Disposal in the sink. A washer and a dryer and an ironing machine in a
tract house that we share somewhere that's green. He rakes and trims the grass. He loves to mow and weed. I cook like Betty Crocker, and I look like Donna Reed. There's plastic on the furniture to keep it neat and clean. In the pines all scented there somewhere that's green. There's sweet off frozen dinner and a bedtime 9:15. We snuggle watching Lucy on a big, enormous 12-inch screen. His December bride, his father, he knows best. Our kids watch Howdy Doody as the sun sets in the west. A picture and better homes and gardens magazine. Far from Skid Row, I dream we'll go somewhere that's green.
Now we have one more little surprise, Alan. Before we wrap this thing up, I'll let you explain what it is.
Okay. Well, actually,
This is so beautifully done. Very professional.
Go ahead, Ed.
there's a little gap here. Okay. But okay, let me say this. With all the things that Howard and I did, the blueprints were always our demos. We would record the songs and give the voice and the interpretation, whether it was Rosewater or Little Shop or Mermaid or Beauty. So this is Howard. This is Howard's voice. It's the voice of the man whose heart beats in the center of this, and somebody we miss terribly every day, and just can only imagine what this world would be like if he was still with us. We're going to have an opportunity to hear him now.
Where did the girls go? Where are they now? I'm gonna find them somewhere, somehow. I wanna know who was reading so long ago. Has it really
I want to thank once again Kurt Galvao, Ellen Menken, Ellen Greene, and Frank Oz.